Hey developers, thanks for watching. I have an interview today with CodingPhase.com. Joe from CodingPhase is going to tell us all about how he went from being a broke to getting a web developer job making $85,000 a year. Check it out. This is the first part. There's going to be more parts in the future. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks. Hey everybody, today I have Joe here from CodingPhase. What up, Joe?
What up, what up, what up, Eric? My boy Eric, we back. You already know it's your boy Joe, aka I do this, aka CodingPhase.com. Alright?
That's awesome. Yeah, so the reason I brought you on here is because you kind of have a similar channel to mine. You do a lot of tutorials, but a lot of advice videos, and you have a really crazy, unique story too. And I think that really separates you from the other channels out there. Just the way you your story and the way you talk to everybody. I think it relates to a lot of people. Can you explain a little bit about your channel?
Yeah, so pretty much my channel is about, bringing people together and showing to people like, hey, you don't have to be the stereotypical web developer or think in your head like, hey, I have to be the smartest person in the world to be doing this. It's more about dedication and having fun with code. If you're the type of person that is a problem solver, then you could do this. Like, it's not that difficult. And not saying, hey, anybody could do it, because then you're bringing down the basically the skills that it takes for you to do this job. But it's more about saying, hey, if you're dedicated, you could become a web developer and you could change your life. Right now, it's all about technology. If you're thinking about doing something like sociology or archaeology or something in those realms, you're pretty much wasting your time, because the industry is changing to just tech, either in programming, engineering, math and science is really what's coming for the next 10-20 years. It's the future.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you're definitely seeing the horizon out in the future where web development is going to be big, and you're trying to bring people together. I really like that message.
Yeah.
So you have a really unique story too, which kind of caught my eye when I was looking around. And one of your most popular videos, you talk about going from being broke to getting a web development job making $95,000 a year. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much, like, I started, making websites like a lot of people who on YouTube or, on MySpace, or, people that have been messing around, with a little bit of HTML and CSS, but nothing on a professional level. And all I knew was just pretty much HTML tags and how to do tables, because I learned the basics back in 2000, 2001. Back when I was like a young kid in freshman in high school, and I liked Dragon Ball Z, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna make a Dragon Ball Z website, and that's how that was my start, my introduction to like what web development was. But back then, like, I would have like people would tell me, oh, that's like graphic design, and like graphic designers don't make no money, and this and that, and like back then that was like what everybody was telling me, and I was just like, you know what, man, I'm gonna leave this alone, and then I'm gonna go to school and get a job in the office, So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go to school just to become somebody that wears a suit. So I decided, hey, I like computers, I'm gonna take IT. So I actually went to school for 2 years associate. I didn't go to a 4-year school because I come from not like a poor family, but it's like lower middle class, where it was a single parent. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that to my mom, put her to the whole stress of paying for school. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to a community college. So I did programming and systems, which it was more of IT. And pretty much, yeah, I was like, one day I'm in the mall, because you know how it is when you go to school and you're in college. Those early years, you're like, man, I don't even know how I'm gonna get out of here, how I'm gonna pay for stuff that I want, because you're making $9 an hour. Like, I remember at that time, that's when they have brought up the minimum wage to like $9, and I was like, oh man, $9 is great. And then I realized, like, I can't afford anything that I like with that that amount of money. And I was like, man, I gotta do something. So that's when I went back to the things that I loved, which was, just coding and like making little graphics and stuff like that. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna just go back into this. And I started studying in Team Treehouse. I did it for like a month and a half, 2 months. And then from there, I just started doing the research online on like the things that I needed to learn.
Was that just
After,
nights and weekends? Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you there.
yeah, nights and weekends, just pretty much just going at it, just doing Google searches, checking CSStricks.com. Back then, I don't even remember if there was a coding or is it Code Academy. I don't even remember there was anything like that back then. It was more like you got to do your own research. So yeah, I just out of nowhere, I started doing little jobs on the side. Freelancing for Craigslist. People would come in and would tell me, "Hey, could you build me a website for my restaurant?" And I'll do it for $100, even though it took me 2-3 weeks to build a whole website. I'm working for like less than minimum wage, but it was the experience that got me there. And then next thing you know, I started applying for bigger companies, and here I am now. Right now, the current company that I work for, I make about like 85K, but the one before it, I was making 95. So when I made the video, that's when I was earning 95. Right now, I'm currently earning 85. And you know what? And I want to tell everybody, this is a very good, advice. Money is not everything. Sometimes, $10,000 just to get that little $95,000 job. I left that alone because I wasn't that happy there, and I took a pay cut in another company, which I'm extremely happy for. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. You have to be happy what you do. That's pretty awesome, man. So you said, hey, I have this in mind, and I want to accomplish
Mhm.
it. So you went nights and weekends, and you
Yeah.
said you didn't have the formal like computer science education, but you applied yourself. And I know that you've talked about it before in some of your videos where you think that if you spend your time just working really, really, really hard on programming, learning, self-teaching, which some people can do. I think personally that not everybody can self-teach themselves like you did. I think some people need a more structured environment.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that if you can self-teach yourself, you can bypass academia. You can get a job
Yeah.
doing web development, software development.
Yeah. I think like, a lot of people have been giving me a lot of flack because I talk about boot camps a lot. And I say, hey, boot camps are not good because you're getting yourself in debt. You know what I mean? It's like I think for some people, it's like, to use this analogy, it's like somebody who's overweight, right? And there's people that want to go to the gym, right? And there's one that's gonna go to the gym by himself and lose the weight, right? And there's another one that needs to go to the gym, signs up, and sometimes signs up and don't even show up to the gym, or signs up and pays for a trainer, and then the trainer has to help them to, lose the weight. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you get it. Like for me, that's how I feel about boot camps. It's like for me, when I wanted to become a developer, I just said, hey, this is something that I want to do, and I'm just gonna go for it. I know a lot of people don't think the same way and they need the motivation, but at the same time, it's like there's a choice that you're gonna make. You're gonna say, hey, if I want to become a developer, you gotta breathe, eat, and like do everything that's just web development or programming. Like this is not about something that you do on a part-time where you're like, okay, yeah, I'll do it 1 hour of the week and then I'll go home and that's it. Like this is something that you have to take serious, because it's gonna change your life and it's for the better. Like, a lot of people's out there, I get a lot of messages from people. It's like, hey, I'm a dishwasher. Hey, I'm actually over here. I work in a parking lot just like you at one point. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like you could actually get out of that world because it doesn't take that much. Just give yourself 3 to 6 months of just hard work. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I don't know. I feel some type of way about boot camps. I just feel like if I'm gonna go out of my way and really get in debt, I'd rather pay for college than a boot camp because they're only teaching you the basics. You could learn that on your own, But that's
Yeah.
my
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Boot camps is an interesting topic. I know that it's kind of like all the rage. I mean, I think in the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen this huge gluttony of different boot camps, from Hack Reactor to Dev Boot Camp and or Dev Mountain.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's a lot of things. And in fact, some of them, I don't know if you've approached this, getting a little insider YouTube, but I think some of them actually approach YouTube channels
yeah, yeah,
and they do deals with them. I know that
yeah,
Coding Tutorials 360, I think they were trying to get
yeah, yeah.
in. But
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great that that there's some boot camps that are trying to sponsor developers. My only thing about that is just it comes back to the same thing, which is most of the developers who are actually promoting those boot camps, they taught themselves. So it's like I would take it from somebody who went to a boot camp and I'll say, okay, that person lived it, and and he got to this point. But when you're a developer who taught yourself and then you're promoting something that you didn't even do it, like that's my only problem with it. But
yeah, and I know it's some channels promote it more than others. I think I heard Engineered Truth, which is not really a programming channel. They're more like just talk about different careers. The guy from there, Matt, he actually got paid to go to the boot camp, and then he became a sponsor of them, which is interesting. He has a pretty big channel, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same. I think I'm on the same level as you when talking about boot camps. If you have to spend, I mean, these things are costing like $20,000-$30,000 or $10,000-$20,000, and I don't know if it's worth going into debt. I mean, you have to be seriously focused and be able to do that. And I think in one way, you can also think of, if you go to college, you can get a scholarship.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's too many scholarships for boot camps, development boot camps.
From what I've seen, because I've done my research a lot in boot camps, like some places they do have it. They have like some type of scholarship, especially for girls. They're trying to, it's like an incentive to get girls to start doing more boot camps, which is really great. But, at the same time, it's like, I think people are confusing boot camps from like college. I don't know what's your background. Like, how did you come into this web development? I know it's your show, your channel, but I still would like to know a little bit more about you. Like, how did you get in this?
Yeah, so I did the traditional college experience. I went to high school. I was kind of the computer geek guy, but I didn't really get into much programming until I went into college, and then I got into it a lot more there. I actually took some breaks between high school and college. I took a few years off. I worked doing tech support before I went into college, and then I worked part-time and did it. So I guess I'm different that way. I think I think there are definitely some good computer science courses out there, and I think that there are not so good courses out there and not so good colleges. So I kind of tend to, and I've talked to other people here, I tend to favor college more than not college, especially if you're just a high school student. But I know that's not everybody's prerogative.
Yeah, I actually prefer somebody like who comes from college, because at the same time you have a certain background, which is something that a lot of people don't understand too. Like, nothing is guaranteed in this world, right? So when it comes to jobs, you could be very bright, but at the same time, it's like this. There's 3 applicants right now, right? There's a guy who comes straight out of high school and has been coding for a year, right? Then there's a guy who just graduated from college, and then there's a guy who just basically did a boot camp, right? So right now, the guy who's been by himself straight from high school is at the same level as the person from a boot camp, because it's pretty much they both know the basics. They don't have no experience. Now, an employer goes like this. He looks at all 3 of them and says, hey, most of the time, unless that person has a lot of years of experience, they're going to give that opportunity more to the person with the 4-year degree. Like, that's just how it is. Like, there's no way that you could go around it. You know what I mean? But if you have certain skills and you have a very good portfolio, you could get that job over the college student. But you have to really prepare yourself. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna be like, I got 6 months of doing coding in my house, and I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna be better than this guy who got databases, algorithms. He got, you know, a whole bunch of 2 years of theory. Like, you know, employers see that, and I definitely go more for like college students. Like, you know, I would say either a boot camp. I would say go to a college if you really want to get some type of degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very interesting. And there is definitely cases where someone right out of high school is just amazing. I think
Yeah,
I and the and that they have tons of open source projects, and you hear from them skipping college, and the next thing you know, they're working at, you know,
yeah,
Google or something. You're like,
yeah,
wow, how do they do that? But you know, it doesn't happen every day, but
yeah,
it is possible. So,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that's what's cool about our, you know, our profession, that there's just so many
Yeah.
different paths to
Yeah.
become a developer out
You
there.
know, I think that's like the best part about it, because is, you know, not only don't you need a degree, but it's more about your determination and your skills. Because what people don't see, right? When a kid comes out of high school, right? 17 years old, just came out of high school, and now he got internships in Google, Facebook, and all the other big companies. What people don't know is that this kid's been doing this since 13 years old. So in reality, he got 4 years of experience. Like, it doesn't matter the age. This person could be 12 years old. You know, I've seen kids in meetups who are 12 years old, and their parents had them coding since 6 years old. So they've been doing it for 6 years, and they like super brilliant. Like, they know how to do React. They know how to do how you call this, Meteor. Like, they know the front end, they know the back end. I'm like, how does this kid at 12 years old know so much? And it's time, the time that he put into it. 6 years is a long time. So it's like, people have to understand it's more about how much dedication you put into this. Because at the same time, you could go to college and say, hey, I'm only gonna do my projects to get an A, and that's it. And I never touch the computer, or I never do research. But then once you graduate, you're like, oh my God, like, I can't get a job because I never put in that time. You know what I mean? So it's all
Yeah,
about
that's
dedication.
yeah, exactly. That's great that it is. I'm gonna change subjects here a little bit. The I know one of your videos you talk about Udemy,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk about some really great courses developers could take, and I know that you actually give back a little bit too, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so pretty much I've been doing Udemy since the beginning. So like I said, in that gap between the first 3 months when I left Team Treehouse to basically start learning stuff from online, from different people, from blogs, you have SitePoint.com, Scotch.io. All those places is like they give you little snippets of like little tutorials, how to do something on Node, how to do something on Angular back then. That's what Angular was hot. And pretty much I bumped into Udemy. I didn't even know that this website existed. And I started buying this course. I bought this course that I have for my description, which was about MySQL. And I was like, holy shoot, like, you know, I never knew that without MySQL, well, a database, you can't really build anything as far as like the web. Like, you could do the front end, but if the data doesn't persist, in reality, as soon as you refresh the page, you lose everything. So from there, that's when I started learning more about web development, because there's a difference between being a programmer and just knowing how to code, and then learning how to become a web developer or a full stack. So that's what I got from Udemy. And pretty much I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this YouTube, I'm going to only support the courses that I took that helped me get to where I am right now. So like that, it doesn't feel fake. Like, there's no reason for me to go and do a Java course, right? Promote a Java course with, you know, that I don't know no Java. I never took a Java course. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, I said, you know what? I know out of 100%, 25% I have to give to the government no matter what, as far as like earnings, you know, from the affiliate links. So then I say, okay, I'm gonna give 25% to the taxes, 25% to everybody who views it, because there's a lot of people from India, Africa, Latin America, even here in the United States that cannot afford a course of $10, $15. They can't afford it. So it's like, you know what? With the earnings that I get from this, I'm going to give those courses to those people for free. So You know, it's like you helping, they helping me out, I helping them out at the same time. You know, so
Wow, that's awesome. I've never heard of anybody doing that, but
yeah.
that is pretty awesome, helping those people out. How do you choose the people that get the courses?
It's I pretty much I have a list of like whoever sends me an email or a message through YouTube, and pretty much it's just a list of everybody. I try to give one to everybody that sends me a message. Of course, once I have enough money, because I can't, you know, start paying for everybody's course. But once I start having the budget, then I say, okay, this week I made $100. So then that's 10 courses that I could give out. You know what I mean? So that's how I basically do it. And yeah, it's just pretty even. Maybe later on, I'll, you know, if I start getting thousands of people sending me messages, I'm probably just gonna have to create like a random algorithm to just out of everybody's emails and, you know, send them a course.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome that you do that. That's giving back is really
Yeah.
important. Do you and for everybody that's listening, your channel is only a couple of months old, but it's been growing pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm, you know, pretty amazed how how the channel's been growing every single day, and it seems like, and not only the channel, but also too, like the earnings of the channel is just been going through the roof because people know that I'm supporting back, you know, and it's like I'm excited because I want this channel to really grow a lot so I could give back. It's not more of like, hey, I'm trying to earn more money because I already earn enough to take care of my family. But I want to be able to say, hey, when those guys they become, you know, become developers and they like here on YouTube or they somewhere else, they be like, yeah, I got a course for free from this guy. And that's what got me here, you know? That's what's gonna help me out more than just me making, you know, $10 out of, you know, $4 out of a course, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I might have to steal that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, more wealth to everybody. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, things are definitely going definitely crazy. I've been following definitely you and a few other people, a few other YouTubers getting ideas and trying to emulate some of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think, which is crazy. Like when I first saw your channel, I think you had under 1,000 or like early thousands around there, and I was like, yo, this guy's channel is like legit, like because not for nothing, but like your voice is very clear. You know exactly. It's like you plan the tutorials pretty well. You know, you have Ember, you have Aurelia, stuff that not everybody else is teaching out there, and those are great frameworks. And then it's like, you know, your channel is one of those channels which I was like, you know, remember, I was like, how the hell is this guy not like super known right now? Like, you know, because I started learning stuff from there. And I was like, you know what, like this is one of my go-to tutorial websites, you know, channels to go to, you know. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
I,
thanks.
I think this year is like this year we're gonna hit him with the trifecta. You know what I mean? Like I feel like me, you, Chris Sean, like right now it's just like the game is just opening up. It's like a lot of people's gonna find our channels and it's gonna see like, hey, there's a pretty genuine, you know, genuine guys, and like, you know, Chris Sean has his channel about positivity and motivating people. Me, I come from another side of more of a realness without a lot of BS. I'm not here to, you know, be all nice and be like an actor and be like, hey guys, you know, it's like I'm just who I am, and I basically talk about code. You is like I feel like you're the real deal as far as like if somebody wants to learn, they should come to your channel because your channel is pretty much like legit tutorials. It's not just messing around. Like definitely should be out there selling courses right now because I would pay money for it, you know?
Thanks. Yeah, I've been trying to try different things and try a little bit of everything. I like to do some fun top 5 videos, but then I also like to do some tutorials and I definitely work with a few niche frameworks.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching the first part of our interview with Joe. If you like this, please click the like button and click subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave it on a comment below. Thanks.